Hi everyone, Ellen Woodbridge here, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia. I am here with this month's Stampin' Around the World video hop. This month's theme is our favourite technique, and a technique and a product that I use all the time is blending brushes. I love blending my ink in various different ways on various different projects. And today I wanted to show you how I blend 3 different colors together across a piece of cardstock. I also blend around the edges. That's probably one of my things, just to add a bit of framing to a project. I use blending brushes all the time. We can use decorative masks, and this is just something really simple. All we need is our ink pads and a couple of blending brushes. So I just wanted to go back really simple and show you how I blend three colors together. So I am using the terrific Toadstools stamp set. I will get my words out, and I'm just creating this sunset scene and using our Toadstools as a silhouette. So the colors I'm using are Highland Heather, Pretty in Pink, Lemon Lolly, and Basic Grey for our shadows. I didn't want to use black because I thought that was a bit harsh, but Basic Grey I think will be perfect, as you can see here, and I've just added some very simple embellishments to finish. So let's get started. I have a card front size piece of paper, a piece of basic white cardstock. Now I am going to turn this landscape. Even though I am creating a portrait card, I do find it easier to blend landscape. That is just how I do it, how I feel, and I'll probably do it upside down and a bit on an angle. So I have a blending brush for every color that I use. So I have a light pink, a dark pink, a light purple, a dark purple, and that works really well for me. So I just dab this into my ink pad to build up some color. I do a slight dab off onto my glass mat. Now I go in with a light hand because we don't want those brush strokes. I do have just a few here, but we don't want the brush strokes straight away. So as I have laid down some ink, you can see it is building up, and I'm literally just using a light hand, going clockwise, anti-clockwise, and I want to start light, and of course I've got some ink elsewhere, because we want to build up layers. We can always add more ink. We can't take ink away. Okay, so and I'm starting darkest, working to lightest. It doesn't, I suppose it does matter because we are going to be getting ink on our brushes. So going lightest to darkest can work, but literally there will be a little bit of overlap on each layer, and that's kind of the key. Now the other thing I recommend when blending is using the glass mat. So literally my blending brush glides, so it glides on the glass mat over the paper, so I don't get any harsh lines. Now I think for the moment I am fine with our gorgeous grape. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a cleanup so not to contaminate my Pretty in Pink ink pad. So I'm just using my water, a microfiber cloth, and just giving it a wipe and a dry. That is all I need to do to clean up between colors. So Pretty in Pink Now, these colours, and I'll just bring in my project here for a sec, these colours will settle. So they will smooth out a little bit and they will settle. So don't stress and go, oh my God, they're really harsh lines. I think my original one, this was my original one, I did have some quite harsh lines in it. This was my play one. And they did smooth out really nicely. So just a tip. Also, my ink pads aren't terribly juicy, so that can help as well. Now, we do need juicy ink pads, but you need to watch and see how juicy your ink pads actually are, because you are definitely more prone to getting some of those brush marks if you do have a super juicy ink pad and you go in quite heavy-handed from the start. So you can see here, I've added in the pink, but I've added it in directly below the purple. So or the gorgeous grape. What I want to do now is just to go over where they join, just to create a seamless line, because there won't be any line because we are blending into that purple. So I'm actually quite happy with that saturation at the moment. I can always, do you know what, I'm going to pick up the ink off my glass mat, which is another reason why I love my glass mat, and just leave these ink pads open for the moment. And because this is already damp, I can just give that a wipe, and we shall finish with our lemon lolly, which is the lightest of our yellows. Okay, so lemon lolly. Now, I think this ink pad is a little juicier than my others. So whilst it is a nice light colour, I probably want to be a bit more aware of my pressure. So you can see I've actually laid down this colour a lot quicker. So I'm a bit lower than this card, but it doesn't really matter because I wanted some off the top and some off the bottom. So now I'm going over that joining section. We will create a slight orange because we're going yellow and pink together. So I'm quite happy with that. I just want to take my blending brush and see if I can just create a bit of softness at the top here with whatever ink is left on my brush. Now, I'm quite happy with that. I just want to go in a little more here in the middle. Okay, I think I am done with that. So I'm just thinking, do I want to leave these ink pads open? Because I wouldn't mind doing something in the middle, but I think I'm just going to use the ink that is left on the brushes. Now, I do not clean, like I don't wash my brushes. What I do is grab my roller paper towel, and I'm not going to do it now because I want the ink on the brushes, but what I do is before I use it in another purple, and if I remember what color I used, I just brush it on the paper towel, and as you can see, I've just taken off majority of the excess ink. Okay, let's close these ink pads, and I'm going to finish our blending by adding our silhouette seam. Okay, just close these up. Just bear with me a second because we don't want any disasters. Okay, all closed. Going to bring in my basic grey. Whoops, sorry about that. And I have, I think, all of my stamps are already pre-mounted on blocks. So this part should go fairly quickly. So using the terrific Toadstools, I haven't used all of the images. If I wanted a landscape card, I could definitely use all the images, but with a portrait card, I just picked and chose which images I wanted. Now, if I was smart, I would have my scrap paper here. Now, I did re-ink my basic grey because I want that nice and dark. Now, this will lighten up as well. Most of our inks do stamp darker than what they actually end up drying as. So I'm using this Mossy Hill here, and just to create somewhere for our Toadstools to land. Okay, so I'm coming in with this first, and each scene I have done has all been a little bit different. So just going to have this one here, and I'm making sure my stems actually sit a little bit below the hill. Now this stem is going to have this toadstool head. Now these I never washed or cleaned these from my last stamping, so I know they are all going to stamp beautifully because I didn't do that. So next I am going to bring in this one, which goes with this stem. So I always start with the stems because then I know the stems are going to connect with our mossy hills. So I've got that. I'm going to take this toadstool head. So this really is just simple stamping, one layer of stamping over our blending. Next I'm going to use this one with this one in the middle. So once again, toadstool, our toadstool stem first. Oh, that one I didn't quite get low enough and I got a little bit of ink, but that's okay. I will find a way to cover that up. I think I just got it. I don't know where that came from. Okay, and we're just going to put this one here. So I love that they're different heights. I also love that these two are overlapping a little bit. So I do have some greenery here that is going to look really, really nice just to fill out our scene. Now I can angle these however I wish, just to give a little bit more interest. I'm just wondering what I'm going to do about this. Undecided yet, so I'm going to pop in our popping up to say hi. Okay. And I'm just going to pop this right here. Leave that there for a few seconds to transfer. Is it stamped totally straight? Not sure, but that will do nicely. Now, I do have a secondary piece for the inside of our card. So that effectively finishes our card front. So for the inside, what I thought I could do was just pop this here. Yes, I am just using the ink that is left on the stamp. So loving that, got a bit of that, but that's fine. So this is where I'm going to take my blending brushes and just see what I can do with some of this ink. Just adding some very faint blending. So this is going to tie the front and the inside of the card together. Okay. I'm not worrying about that little misstep there, but you can see I've got my 3 colours. So where did I put that card front? So we are matching on the inside and the outside. So let's pop this card together. I do have some basic grey cardstock. I have pre-scored my cardstock, which I find so much easier. And when it is scored, the mountain that you create, so this outside has the valley and the inside has the mountain, and that's how they fold the best. So just using my bone folder to burnish that edge so that stays nice and closed. And grabbing my favorite glue, which is a multi-purpose glue, and just popping some dots here on the front. Now I'm going to leave the inside sentiment free, so this card can be for many occasions. Just going to use my wiggle room here and just line this up. I'm fairly happy with that. Yes. And then open it up. Now I can't even open it up. I burnished that so well. And I'm just going to put the inside in because this basic grey cardstock is quite dark to write on. So a card insert is definitely needed. And I love that I have made it to match the front. Okay, and for a final touch, I have grabbed out, now hopefully these are still in your store. These are currently on the last chance list, Cherry Cobbler and Pearl adhesive backed berries. So they do have, there is a leftover sheet in here. They're stuck together. So these pearl ones, I thought, just added the perfect amount of shine, and you can also see our blending underneath. So what I want to do is here, and then one down here. So I'm doing it a little differently to how I did it here because the sentiment is a little, everything's just slightly different. Okay, I do like using 3s because that is aesthetically pleasing to the eye. So I'm just going to pop it like that, and that finishes our project. Now we are a group of demonstrators from around the world, so there will be lots of inspiration for you to have a look at on everyone's favorite techniques. So in the comments, please tell me what your favorite technique is. Is it embossing? Is it heat embossing? Is it just stamping? Tell me what it is. I'd love to know, and please go and check out everyone else's amazing projects, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.